The smoky atmosphere of the bar enveloped me as I sipped my whiskey behind the worn counter. The air was filled with laughter and the hum of lively conversations. In my 45s, I felt a little out of place, a middle-aged man in a sea of youthful zaniness. My skepticism about the prospect of meeting someone in such a setting was negated by the appeal of her gaze. She, an energetic 32-year-old with eyes that sparkled like distant constellations. Surprisingly, she made her way through the crowd, her gaze unwaveringly fixed on mine. As she approached, the clinking of glasses and the dull murmur of the bar receded into the background. "Mind if I join you?" she asked with a smile that could melt even the iciest heart. The corners of my mouth lifted involuntarily, and I gestured to the empty stool beside me. "Please have a seat." We exchanged pleasantries, and her laughter sounded like a melody, drowning out the surrounding noise. The conversation flowed easily, overcoming our age difference. Her genuine interest in my life made the skepticism that had initially gripped me dissipate. "So, what brings you here?" I finally mustered up the courage to ask. She took a sip of her drink, the soft light from the bar lamps casting a warm hue on her features. "Just looking for someone interesting," she replied, her eyes hinting at a curiosity that matched my own. As the night unfolded, our stories intertwined, revealing common interests and common ground. The age difference that seemed like a looming barrier became insignificant amidst the sincere connection. As time passed and the bar emptied, the realization came that this chance meeting could be the start of something unforeseen. "Would you like to go somewhere quieter?" I suggested, realizing that the night was just beginning, and so were we. Her eyes sparkled again, and with a nod, we walked out into the cool night, leaving the noisy bar behind. I hadn't realized that this spontaneous decision would set in motion a series of events that would challenge my perceptions and redefine the meaning of family. Our dates continued, each one revealing new facets of our personalities and forging a bond that defied conventional norms of age and expectations. She was a breath of fresh air, bringing a vibrancy to my life that I felt was missing. One evening, after a delightful dinner at a cozy restaurant, we strolled hand in hand through the city streets. The city lights reflected the newfound warmth in our blossoming relationship. However, the revelation she made that evening would challenge the ease we had cultivated. We stopped by the fountain, and the quiet splash of the water provided a soothing backdrop. "There's something I haven't told you," she hesitated, her eyes reflecting a mixture of vulnerability and fear. My eyes flashed curiosity with a tinge of worry. "What is it?" Taking a deep breath, she confessed, "I have a 14-year-old son named Stephen." The revelation hung in the air, and the moment was filled with uncertainty. The weight of her revelation descended, and for the first time, doubt crept into my head. Would I be able to handle the complexities of dating a woman with a teenage son? The months that followed were a delicate dance of acceptance and compromise. Stephen, aloof at first, gradually warmed to my presence. We spent time together, forming an unconventional trio that defied societal expectations. It was during these evenings of family games and shared meals that I saw glimpses of the life we could build together. As our bond grew stronger, so did the challenges. The fragility of our newfound family became apparent when the threat of eviction loomed over her and Stephen. It was a moment of reckoning, a crossroads that would either strengthen our bond or unravel the carefully woven threads. One evening, as the shadows grew longer, she broached the subject, and there was anxiety in her voice. "I don't know where else to turn," she confessed, her eyes pleading for understanding. For a moment, a silence hung between us that carried an unspoken meaning. "Move in with me," I said, surprising even myself. The gravity of my decision subsided, And with excitement and trepidation, we began a new chapter. Our shared home, the haven of my childhood, became the canvas for our unconventional family. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a long driveway, and 2 acres of land with memories waiting to be made. The journey ahead was uncertain, but as we got into the rhythm of daily life, I felt a contentment that transcended the usual definitions of family. Life had fallen into a routine, our shared home filled with laughter and daily hustle and bustle. However, beneath the surface, a subtle change had begun, marked by her growing restlessness and late-night forays to her coworkers. Trust, once a solid foundation, now wobbled like a fragile bridge in the face of uncertainty. One fateful night, with tension in the air, I returned home earlier than expected. The front door swung open, revealing a scene that shattered the illusion of stability. The living room, once a sanctuary of shared moments, was now the scene of an underground affair. She and the other man, oblivious to my presence, were lying on the couch, their faces illuminated by the bright light of the television. What the hell is going on here? My voice, a mixture of anger and disbelief, rumbled through the room. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the rustle of the clothes they were hastily putting on. "Please let me explain," she pleaded, desperation evident in her words. "It's not what you think it is. How can it be different than it seems?" I shot back, my emotions overwhelming me. "Were you going to tell me about this?" Unspoken accusations hung in the room. The air was saturated with betrayal. She, crying and apologizing, tried to explain, but her words went unheeded. In the confrontation that followed, truths were revealed, exposing the unraveled threads of our once happy life. "You had my trust and you squandered it," I muttered, feeling the weight of realization settle on my soul. "Why? What was the point?" She hesitated, her eyes avoiding mine. "I don't know. Things got complicated, and I didn't know how to deal with it." Complicated. The word hung in the air like a bitter aftertaste. As accusations sprinkled and emotions reached a crescendo, it was obvious that our paths had parted and the stable family I'd envisioned was crumbling before my eyes. "I trusted you with everything," I finally said, sighing heavily. "But now I don't even know who you are." The painful truth of our broken trust echoed in the room. The unraveling had begun, and all that was left was the aftermath of a love story tainted by betrayal. After the heartbreaking revelation, the once happy home became a battleground of emotions and broken trust. Determined to shield Stephen from the turmoil, I embarked on the arduous journey of litigation to gain custody of the child. The courtrooms became the stage for our personal drama, a place where the fragility of relationships and strength of character were exposed. As documents were scrutinized and evidence unfolded, I faced the daunting task of proving her instability as a parent. "Why are you doing this?" she asked during one of the court hearings, anger and resentment mixed in her eyes. "Because Stephen deserves a stable home," I replied, my voice firm but burdened with the weight of responsibility. "I won't let him suffer the consequences of our mistakes." The trial revealed a history of tumultuous relationships and questionable decisions on her part, painting a picture of instability that echoed through the courtroom. The stakes were high, but the determination to secure Stephen's future overshadowed any doubts that still remained. As the court battles continued, the strain of our emotions became more palpable. In moments of weakness, she tried to appeal to my sympathy, questioning my commitment to the non-traditional family we had created. "Can't we find a way to make this work for Stephen?" she pleaded, and I could read the desperation in her eyes. "You had your chance and you blew it," I replied, feeling the bitterness of betrayal lurking in my words. This is about him, not us. The turning point came when Stephen, a key player in this chess game for custody, decided to speak up for himself. The courtroom fell silent as he expressed his desire to live with me, citing the stability and love he found in our shared home. He is old enough to make that decision, the judge announced, marking the victory with a bittersweet taste. Custody is being transferred to the father. The aftermath of the court battles was both a relief and a grim acknowledgement of the shattered family left behind. Stephen, who was now in my custody, had to heal the wounds caused by the tumultuous events. As the trial drew to a close, I realized that the journey was far from over. The scars of betrayal were deep, but in the eyes of the resilient teenager who now sought my counsel, I found a glimmer of hope for a brighter, more stable future. The legal battles were behind us, but the echoes of emotional turmoil still echoed in the quiet corners of our shared home. The wounds of betrayal were deep, and when the dust settled, I found myself pondering the shards of a once promising relationship. The once sturdy walls of our home now seemed to absorb the remnants of pain that hung in the air. Stephen, a resilient young soul, dealt with the fallout with a quiet strength that both surprised and saddened me. One evening, as we sat in the dimly lit living room, the weight of the past came over us. "I never wanted anything like this for you," I confessed, looking at the flickering flames in the fireplace. "I know," Stephen replied, a maturity in his voice that belied his age. "But you became the support I needed. I'm grateful for that." That confession hung in the air like a fragile bridge spanning the chasm of our shared experiences. As I reflected on the twists and turns of our journey, the resilience in both of us became a guiding light. In moments of solitude, I pondered the meaning of forgiveness. "Do you think forgiveness is possible?" I asked Stephen, and the question sounded like a delicate promise between us. He thought for a moment before answering, "Maybe not forgetting, but we can choose to move forward without letting the past define us." There was wisdom in his words, a testament to the strength that adversity had instilled in us. The scars of betrayal were undeniable, but as I looked at the young man who had emerged from the storm, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and hope. Despite the emotional turmoil, life demanded that we move forward. The future remained uncertain, but in Stephen's eyes, I saw the potential for healing and growth. A chapter of betrayal had scarred our history, but as this resilient duo looked to the horizon, a new dawn was dawning. As I reflected on the complexities of forgiveness, I realized that the strength to overcome lies within us. The road to healing will not be easy, but the glimmer of optimism in Stephen's eyes lit the way forward. Betrayal had left its mark, but a shared determination to move forward hinted at the possibility of rebuilding not only our lives, but our shared notion of family. In the aftermath of the storm, there was silence in our shared home. Stephen and I found solace in routine, each day a step toward healing the wounds left by betrayal. As the legal papers gathered dust, I pondered the prospect of a new dawn, a chance to redefine the contours of our lives. One evening, against the setting sun, Stephen broke the silence. "Are you okay, Dad?" There was a weight in his words that was hard to put into words. I turned to him, a smile playing on my lips. "We're going to be okay, Stephen. This is a fresh start for both of us." His eyes, a mirror reflecting a mixture of resilience and vulnerability, met mine. "I believe you, Dad." Days turned into weeks, and we walked through uncharted territory, rebuilding our lives. Conversations flowed more easily. Laughter echoed through the hallways, and walls that once absorbed pain began to echo with newfound strength. One evening, as we sat under the vast expanse of the night sky, Stephen broke the silence. "Do you think Mom will ever regret what she did?" The question lingered, hanging between us like a fragile thread. I sighed, pondering the complexities of regret. People make choices, Stephen. Whether she regrets it or not, only time will tell. The stars overhead seemed to twinkle in silent understanding as our thoughts intertwined with the vastness of the universe. Despite the uncertainty, the shared recognition of our resilience became a beacon leading us through the darkness. Rushing toward a new dawn, I found myself once again beginning to cautiously explore the prospect of opening my heart. A hesitant smile played across Stephen's face as he caught me pensive. "Ready to take another dip in the dating pool, Dad?" he teased. I grinned, a sound that seemed foreign to me after a prolonged period of somber reflection. Maybe someday. But right now, I want to focus on us. On rebuilding what we've lost. As the chapter of betrayal slowly closed, the anticipation of a bright future beckoned. Scars remained imprinted in the history of our lives, but in the quiet moments spent between father and son, there was a resilience that promised the possibility of a new, stronger family. The road ahead remained uncertain, but with each step I found comfort in the realization that a new dawn awaited us, a chance to rediscover love, family, and the meaning of home.